Hey everybody, welcome back to Still Can't Cook. I am your host, Kelley Fahey. You should know that. I hope you know that by now. Welcome back. I'm so happy to have you here. Today we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. We're going to talk about evaluating relationships and how you weed through people when their crazy just doesn't fit in your life and how you figure that out. Then we're going to talk about, well, a major part of this is going to be my pet peeves because I have a bunch of shit I really want to talk about today. But it's important to figure out in our lives, you know, these relationships that are serving us and ones that aren't. And I think it's not easy for people to determine when you keep someone around. Like, I think we all are fucking nuts. Like, everyone's got their crazy. I know, let me say this. I said it in one of my podcasts. I'm going to say it again. I know I'm the difficult friend. Like, I'm the one who complains about fucking everything. It's important to realize if your friendships are more chaotic than they are giving you comfort, right? And it's funny because when I was thinking about the topic, I'm like, wow, I wonder what my friends would say about me. I have one friend who we literally just had this phone call before I started shooting, where she takes everything personally, really takes everything personally. I try not to do that. And I tend to stay away from being like, I don't think everything is about me. I don't think if someone's an asshole that it's because I deserve to be treated like an asshole. I think it's because they probably had a bad day. I learned that in the service business. You can't take things personally. Anyway, this one friend, as I was saying to her, I said to her on the phone today, I was like, you know, you get really fucking crazy about everything. And she's like, I do. She's like, every day there's a problem with you, every day. And I'm like, but it's always the same problem. It's two problems. It's either on again, off again, or my family. That is it. I don't have any other problems. And the family problems, because of therapy, have really minimized. Like, I don't have the brother-sisters relationships that I used to have. We're not as enmeshed. We don't have any crazy shit anymore. I think they would attest to this as well. If you're listening, as they're probably not even listening. If my brothers and sisters are listening, vouch for me. When you have an issue or you want to address something, like me wanting to talk about this today, that you have to take a second and go like, wait, am I that person to somebody else? I know that I had a friend who was, I've actually talked about him a little bit in previous podcasts, but I never really gave away what happened. But so I think what happened in our friendship was that my drama just became too much for him. So I was one of the friends where I was too chaotic. I was more chaotic than I was comforting. And the one thing about me, my therapist would tell you, is I self-exam. I literally go, you know what? I get it. Though I think it's super important that when you are someone's friend, wholeheartedly love somebody, you got to ride the wave. You can't just be there for the good shit and not ride through the shit. You know, I just said good shit. You know what I'm saying? I curse too much. You can't just be there for the good times and not also ride out the hard times. And I think a lot of friends are fair weather friends and they bounce when shit gets hard. And that's not cool. But then there are these people that you meet and it's like, when do you realize that you're really not getting positive stuff in return from this friendship? I've had it. I mean, I think it comes with age. I'd love to know how you guys feel about this and if you do have stories of your own of letting go of friends. I think it happens at all times in life. I think there comes a point in your life where, you know, when you're a little kid, you have your best friends change. It's never too late to reevaluate a friendship. And I have, through arguing and not agreeing on something politically I had one friendship ends where I just felt like this person was constantly competing with me and I don't think they acknowledged that was what was happening, but that's how I felt. And then it just got to a point where it was like, I never felt like they had my back. There's so many reasons to keep someone in your life. There's so many things that what a beautiful part of our lives are friendships. You know, what an incredible thing a person brings in, and what a weird thing to happen that two strangers meet one another, and because of some mutual thing that you have in common, this relationship sparks and you get to do. I don't even know what I would do without. I have specific girlfriends who call me every single day. Like, I don't even know what I would do if those friendships weren't part of my everyday life. Like, we are so lucky to have them. It's a weird thing to think about because, you know, if you have siblings, they're your first friends, right? Then you go to school and you have to meet new people and it's really hard. It's hard to make friends. And then you find these friends and then life happens and marriage happens and then you have to find, you know, if you're lucky, you keep the same friends, but then you get into adulthood And then people are all spread out. I've said it before, my friends are all over the place, and I have a very small group of friends here in New York, very small group of friends. So I've tried to make new friends, and one of the things that I've realized, aside from friends I've let go of, is some of the fucking crazy people I've met now. Like, you gotta know when it's too crazy for you. And I've had a few recent, I can't even say actual stories because the people are listening to the podcast, and I don't want anyone to know that I'm talking about them. But I have had a few moments where I was like, oh, I can't be with, like, I can't even be in public with this person. When it complete, like, if someone heard my name and saw what this person was doing and we're out together, I've built a reputation, you know? I mean, honestly, in F&B with food and beverage in New York City, or, you know, people know who I am. So to be out with like some fucking lunatune, I attempted, I make the attempts to be nice to new people, and then they show they're crazy, and then I have to run. I did the front of the house, back of the house at some point, talking to people about what, who's important, who's not important, and how you have friends that are much more important than other people. Back of the house, for me, are my most important friends. Front of the house are the filler friends. They kind of intertwine. That being said, what makes a friend? Like, what goes from a associate, someone I have a dog you go walk your dog with, and dog walking friends, do not think I'm talking about you. I think that there are people we spend time with, and then there are friends. Friends that are like, you know what that fucking guy just did? Or you know what happened today? Or, oh my God, there's a sale. Or you send them the clothes, or you talk about great things. And then there's these people who, I don't know the word for it. You guys know a word for that? Like, associates? I feel like I'm in the mob now. My associates. I don't know, people that are not your friends. Where if A called, you probably wouldn't hang out with B, right? Do you know what I'm talking about? And those B friends of mine, just still please hang out with me. You know, I don't know. Friends is just it's a big term. Friends, I love you. A lot of other people say I love you to me, and it makes my fucking head spin. If you please, if I met you and we're just chilling out, we're cool. Please don't tell me you love me. You don't love me. I don't love you either. And love you with the V. I want to with no E, LUV. Please don't ever do that. It's never too old, and it's never wrong if you feel like someone is overly draining and not filling you up. You know, you have to give. I know I can self-evaluate enough to know that I'm a pain in the ass with my girlfriends. I know they're sick of the same fucking topics they hear about. I know when I make any change, when I have growth, which I have when I do change relationships and the way in which they affect me, I have such a great group of girlfriends. They will acknowledge the change and the evolution in that. I don't know if cutting people off is such a great idea, because when you do have those downtimes and your fillers are all kind of gone because you want quality, not quantity. Dummy, that leaves you alone a lot of Saturday nights. I speak from experience. Sometimes it's okay to keep the crazies around, but just keep them in the crazy spot. Like, go to the loud bars with them. Like, don't go sit down at Masa. You know, I'm just saying, don't do that. You don't want to be in a quiet place with a crazy person. But, so here's the thing. I believe I am a balance, and I think my girlfriends, I'm going to have these girls on here one of these days so they can talk about all of the shit I've already talked about. I am definitely the high maintenance crazy friend sometimes, and I think my crazy, this is what I'm going to say, self-proclaimed crazy, is it's the same problem. Same problem. And you know, people make up this whole thing about Einstein said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different response. That is not what the definition of insanity is, and Einstein never said that. I think that if I am the crazy friend, I think that I probably also level it off. So when do you have to stop and figure out the balance and see if the balance is working? Like, when is it too much crazy and not enough giving back? When are you drained? When is someone draining your cup more than they're filling it up? And it could be anybody. It can be family members. It could be friends. It could be, I think it's probably difficult if it's a work colleague, but I think you can separate yourself at work a bit if that happens. You know, I think with all different relationships and all different personalities, keeping ourselves safe in this, and we're going to jump into what I'm going to talk about, it's self-care. Like, how do you keep yourself safe in relationships, you know? If you are not the crazy friend and you're the one who's constantly giving and getting drained, and then when is it okay to walk away? Or when do you figure out the balance? And I think when you have a friend who's both, which I think I am, I think it's pretty easy to tell. I had one friend years ago who said I was the giving tree, which is super, super sweet. And then another friend said I was a heartsicle. So clearly my insanity is balanced out with a bunch of like, I'm very loyal. and I show up. But one of the things I know about myself is I show up for the big stuff. And sometimes it's the small stuff that matters more. So I've worked on that years ago. I think I've figured out how to be a better friend. And it's all through my friends having children and da-da-da. I think it was like, oh, I'll show up for said big event. But it's like Friday night when someone wants to talk, I was too busy. I've changed the way in which I give myself to friends, or I offer my time and attention to friends, because I learned that you need to be there when people just want to say hi, not because they're having a fucking big party. And I mean a party that I felt entitled to go, obliged to go to, unlike what I was talking about with your friends who are only there for the good times, which is what I really did feel about this one specific friend. And it's funny because when I go and think about friends that I've lost and friendships that have ended along the way, the one friend that I think about the most would be him. And then at the same time, when I look at the relationship itself, it was really the one friend who fucking bailed on me more than any other friend did, even the friends that I don't talk to at the same time that I don't talk to him. Maybe I think I don't deserve a friend who's there all the time. I mean, I have my other friends who are there all the time, but maybe I'm making excuses for a shitty friend just to fill the space of a missing friend slot. On again, off again brings with him an amazing life. Fun, parties, traveling. But you know what he doesn't give? Sorry, as a friend. He doesn't, there's no loyalty and call me when you're crying and I'll show up and we'll sit and have a wine together and cry about your relationship, be at your grandmother's wake. He's not that friend. I'm that friend. I'm the ride or die friend. I might be the fucking crazy one. I'm self-admitted crazy, and I mean crazy because I'm not boring. I don't mean crazy like fucking Looney Tune. I mean crazy like I have a lot of stuff going on in my brain a lot. And you guys know, you pay attention. I'm fucking a little bit all over the place. But I'm like that as a friend too. But at the same time, I show up. This particular friend was there for the parties, there for the good time, and I do recognize that with the on again, off again, we went through a roller coaster. It was the Cyclone of Relationships, and if you don't know what that is, it's a roller coaster in Coney Island. Google it. It's wooden, it's rickety, just like the relationship. So this one particular friend did go through a lot with me. Clearly went through a lot with me on the off and on and ups and downs and breakups and backs, but it also was on the fucking jets and was in the plane, was on the yachts and all over the world with me. So when the relationship finally ended, he kind of played it down the middle. He didn't have my back in the way in which I needed him to have my back. And I think he recognized, because one thing anyone who knows me will tell you is that I really I'm cool. I go through the motions. I'll tell you how I feel, and then I go fucking ham. And I was 2 seconds away from going ham on him because he went behind my back. He pulled some shady shit with the ex, and the ex on again, off again. And I was on FaceTime, and he said, I did this, and I said, you did what? And I said, wait, what'd you say? And he said, I have to go. I'm getting another phone call. That was August 18th, 2023, and we have never spoken again. So, yeah. When is it okay to cut off a friend? When they're fucking snakes, is what I say. When they try to go behind your back and get some fucking private jet bullshit rather than real deal friendships. And by the way, on again, off again doesn't speak to him either. So there was a lose-lose situation on that. Next time you have a real friend and a rich friend, pick the fucking real friend. A bit of advice I wish I would have taken more seriously is not going into business with a friend. My father said years ago, and people will know the quote if you knew my father, he always said, never hire someone you can't fire. He was it was anti-nepotism. My brother owned nightclubs. He did hire his entire family, brothers, sisters, cousins. My dad was like this, from jump. It's like, I want to have a family business, but also just keep in mind, when you're in business, your business with family, it crisscrosses and gets you can get a little bit, have some issues. We did not have issues at work, my family, knock on wood, knock, knock, knock. But what I did recently, not so recently, but I went into business with a friend. And a little backstory is this said person, friend is again, one of those words that we use very, obviously not a friend, right? And clearly not a friend. Someone I knew over the years. And one thing about my family is my older brother opened a bar in the city when I was younger and became a very intricate part of New York City nightlife at a very young age. So I was blessed enough to be his sister growing up. Patrick Fahey, I'll give you some props. Anybody who Google, check him out. He's a rock star in the F&B in New York City. Owned restaurants and bars. But he started young, and he had one of the hottest spots called Peggy Sue's when he was very young, 24, I believe. I met this person back then. Mind you, I'm 16, right? So between the ages of 16 and 53, who know, we're not the same people. Anyway, he was doing business. He contacted a family member of mine. They turned down the business, going into business with him. Just timing didn't work. And I decided, yeah, this sounds fun. Now, here's the reality. I was in a relationship traveling around the world. I am a travel consultant. I work on my travel business with my partner, Albert, who's amazing. Everything Travel Guy, little plug. And we do that. And most of the rest of my time was spent doing things with my partner at the moment, who on and off again. And so when he came to me with said position, I was like, oh, this could be fun. It seemed like a very fun, cool thing to do. I'm going to respectfully say we had different visions of what life looks like, of what I wanted to do, what he wanted to do, what the business should look like. It was his business. He asked me to help with part of it. And I never, ever claimed ownership of this business. Ever. What I did say was whatever he would say I was in a room full of people. He would call me a partner. I'd say, okay, partner. I'm not going to correct him. Like, I'm not your fucking partner. It's respectful. You call me a partner. Okay, if that works in said situation. And then when we were together and we were talking, he never would say I was his partner. He'd say it was his business. And I have a small piece of the people I bring in. Fast forward, my life happens. Podcast happens. His life is happening. Things are happening. And what I will say is I think, again, really quick to fucking see what I did wrong. It wasn't my end all be all. I wasn't obsessed. I didn't live, eat, and shit the business. I was like a side thing. This could be fun. It was his entire thing. Good for you. Keep it going, brother. I go one way, he goes the other. Text, no response. Call, no response. One of the things that we did agree to in this business is that anyone that I brought into the business, I was going to get 50% of the finances from. To date, I have gotten 0.0 minus 0 of anything. At one point, we actually did get paid, and he said, hey, we made set amount of money, but I spent your part of it. Did you spend my part of it? Okay. And in me, everything in me, and I thought, am I being crazy? Why am I having so much rage? And you know why? Because I fucking understand how business works. So big, fat, fucking red stop sign. You did what with my money? Well, I don't think you need it. Who told you what the fuck I need and what I don't need? Like, how do people decide what money is yours and what money is not? Business, that's not how it works. You can't decide what's mine and what's not mine. Do from jump, no, it's a real business. One of the things that we did not do was really write down the terms of the company was going to be, what the terms of our working together was going to be, because we sat on the laurels of friendship, or I did at least. I think it's really important that you are specific with contracts and legality and what the expectations are with any job. I think it was really immature of me and short-sighted of me not to say, what is it you expect of me? Because I do believe, and again, I'm saying I'm self-evaluating this, I think he expected me to be a partner in a way that was, and he said partner, I hate that I just used that word. He expected me to give more of my time and energy and to make this my focal point, and it was never going to be that. So I think that I should have probably said from the beginning, this is a fun side thing for me. But if this is your bread and butter, I want you to know that I'm probably not going to devote as much time and attention to it as you are. I think because I didn't do that, he got salty about it, and now there's a bit of shade happening between us. And unfortunately, whatever your vibe is, or you're feeling, or how you feel about me, it doesn't really matter, because legally speaking, we have a contract that states that you owe me 50%. So I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with it, and what, on my day-to-day, he isn't someone whose relationship I will miss, unfortunately, because we, known each other sporadically through years. It wasn't someone, we did get what I thought was kind of close in the beginning of this and kind of getting things together and forming what became he's doing very well. I wish him well. But what he did do also was fuck me over out of what I know only a small amount of money. But it doesn't matter if it was a penny, $1, $5, it was mine. And I said to him, I would have taken that check and I would have hung it up, because it would have been the first amount of money I made from this company, and that I would have been proud of. And I never got to do that. So I'm going to keep you updated on how that turns out, but I'm going to throw some do's and don'ts at you. Do treat it like a real business. Do define the expectations early on. Don't wait like I did. Do communicate like adults. Let me just add on to that. If you're only texting a business partner, and when you do try to communicate, you're constantly met with an argument. Someone said to me once that people who don't know how to communicate think every conversation is an argument. I found that was a problem. So learning how to communicate like an adult, in the space that I'm in right now with this situation, it is something I feel morally obligated to address. I really do. I think it means I'm standing up for myself, which I know sounds really silly, but at 53, I still have a problem doing that. I think it's going to be professional of me. I had a few moments in my life professionally where I probably should have maybe, I talk about the Soho Grand. I should have come back with a counter offer. I didn't. Hurt my feelings. I resigned. Sometimes I think I need to be a little bit more business minded and a little less emotional. So right now, that's what I plan on doing with this. Do plan for conflicts, because you're never going to agree on everything, but you have to be able to work through it and respect one another. I think there's another do I'm putting in there. Do respect one another, even if you don't agree. There is absolutely a required respect when it comes to business. Like I can only, again, I talk about the hotel a lot, but I didn't love the stuff my boss was telling me to do when I had a direct boss, but I respected their position enough to do it. So if you have a partnership or a business, especially with a friend or someone that you know, friend, again, that fucking word we use so loosely, I think it's really important that you really come from a space of respect, because you might make mistakes. You don't know each other that well, and communication is always different. Especially, I'm really having a problem with text communication, which is a whole other fucking podcast. How misread you can be by text message. No one understands the inflection of a text message. Know that you're not going to agree on everything. Do expect to have some conflicts. So those are the do's, and there's a lot of them. But there's also the don'ts. And so don't assume you're always going to agree, which I tapped on in the do's. Don't assume that you're going to always meet at the right spot. Like, it's important that you have room for negotiation in business. And I think a lot of times it's like, no, I want this. No, I want this. And we did find ourselves in that place where I was like, honestly, to be honest, I don't really care that much. And I think that probably should have been his tell, because I gave in on so many things. Like, I don't, okay, want that. If you want to do that, because clearly it wasn't my, with my partner in the travel agency, it's not a travel agency, but it's an umbrella of the travel business, and we're travel consultants, and he's my partner. We definitely don't always agree, but we always respect each other, and it always works out. And then, shout out to you, Albert, because I know I'm a little scattered, but we respect each other. And again, I don't know what he's doing. He doesn't know. We both bring something different to the table, and then we meet and we find kumbaya moment. And I think that that's extremely important in business. So don't expect to always agree with the person you're in business with. I would say don't go into business with anybody you fucking call your friend. Another don't is don't avoid tough conversations. I think one of the things that he and I did, and if he's listening, hopefully he's literally losing his mind if he's listening right now, flipping his lid. He doesn't really have a medium. But don't avoid difficult conversations. I think when someone says, what's going on, instead of responding with a voice text, I like fucking pick up the phone. And I have to say I did the same thing. I did do the same thing, because I just knew, and I'm going to go back to what I said, someone who's constantly coming into every situation in defense. I talked about this once. I used to be that way with my older brother. I see you. I would come into every conversation defensively. I'd be like, what do you got for me now? He'd be like, I'm just saying, how are you? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm fine. Why? Like, all right, Kel, bring it down a notch. And that was what I had with this person. And it's not just me, it's what his personality is. It's very, if there's even the least bit of question of, well, what do you mean? What? Yeah. So don't avoid tough conversations. I know it's not always easy. Again, I do say don't go into business with your friends unless you have all of these checks. I am now teaching people how to run businesses. I'm going to be giving a little 1-800 number at the bottom of this podcast. I can give you all the advice. No, but I don't avoid hard conversations, because if you could just flush it out and actually have a conversation, even if it is an argument, and end a space where you both agree with each other, or not even agree to disagree, but with respect, I think it's extremely important, because you can avoid the place that I'm in right now, which is complete silence. All unknown. I hear what he's saying about me. I don't think he's hearing what I'm saying about him until now. But then again, also, anyone, don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me. That's so not cool. I would never fuck with people in their finances. I would never mess with anybody's money. It's a little bit strange for anybody to mess with mine. And it doesn't matter how much money it is. Any money is money, and it's my money, and it's business, and it's wrong for you to decide what I need and what I don't need. So don't stay silent to keep the peace, and don't fuck over your friends and steal their money. So with all the stress of the issues with the friend and the bit partnership or whatever, and dealing with a bunch of life, I mean, just real life stuff gets really stressful. And so I think it's time to talk about some self-care. What I do to take care of myself that you might not see on my Instagram or social media. Because I think a lot of the stuff that I do, personally, I can't tell anybody else, I post a lot of the things I'm doing. I keep a lot of people in my life and, the dog on the beach or, my dinner's out. But like, what is the stuff that I do that you guys don't see or that I can't put on Instagram? The personal stuff. So I've talked about it before. I'm talking about it again. I listen to a lot of meditations and a lot of positive affirmation stuff on YouTube. Self-care is imperative. And when you have, all the shit going on in the world, like what do you do for yourself quietly when no one's looking? For me, I do a lot of massages. I think time without the television is super important to me and just chilling with the dog. I know I found that some people really like the grass, like grounding in the grass. I really love the beach, the ocean, and the sand, and sitting silently with my dog on the beach, feet in the sand, sun on my face, is one of the greatest gifts I could give myself, and really taking time to do that. We get so busy, we're all so busy. And I know it's not as easy for people who have 9-to-5s or children or lots of things coming in. I'm blessed to not have that kind of hectic schedule. The job that I do have, the jobs I have, I can do a lot of it on the phone or sitting in the comfort of my living room. And not everyone gets to do that. But it's really important with everything that's going on because we can get ourselves sick. Like you can get yourself sick from all of the noise. And I think probably for people with what affects me, I made a joke about it earlier, but what affects me are really two specific things. The on again, off again, it's not so much anymore, but I refer back to it because it comes up every now and then. And my family. And then I think of other people who have children and car payments and all these other insurances. I mean, home insurance and taxes. And I mean, I pay taxes. But like all this other stuff to think about, mortgages and kids' soccers and whose shoe sizes change. Like, God, the things you guys have to think about. What's your downtime? Like, what do you do? I think a lot of my friends with kids, I know one of my best friends, taking a bath. One of her things is she will take a bath, her husband will bring her a glass of wine in the bathtub, and she zens out. And her children are old enough to have to they don't come in the bathroom anymore. I know that's another thing that you guys deal with. I deal with it with the dog. It's bizarro. I can't go in the bathroom for 2 seconds without this little guy pushing the door open. But I mean, it's a dog and he's not going to tell anybody. Kids probably have comments. I know one of my friends told me that when her kids came in when she was using the bathroom and was like, Mom, and she's like, I didn't invite you in here. Sorry, get out of the bathroom if you don't want to smell my shit. Sorry for telling you a story, but you knew who you are. And I have a lot of girlfriends with kids, so and daughters, so no one has to know who it is, but it's a very funny story. Like, I didn't invite you in here, get out. I eat my favorite food. I tell you what makes me really happy. Raw anything makes me really happy. You can never be pissed off if you're having oysters. You can never be mad if you see, by the way, Kermit the Frog's knees. Someone inboxed me, a kid I grew up with, and said, oh, I'm going to call you out. Whatever, Danielle Schultz. Danielle Schultz McNally is her name, and she and I grew up together in Garrison Beach, and she said nothing makes her happier than Kermit the Frog's knees. And I said that I wanted my podcast. She's like, oh yeah, I know. Like, I thought she was just randomly talking about because I had posted The Rainbow Connection, which is my favorite song. And she said nothing makes her happier than Kermit the Frog's knees. So shout out to you, Danielle, and anyone who hasn't seen Kermit the Frog's knees. If you need some self-care, check out his knees. And if you're on a bicycle with Miss Piggy, it's even better, or guitar singing Rainbow Connection. The knees are definitely good for self-care because you can't be mad when you look at those knees. I don't think you could be mad if you play with your pet. If you have kids and pets are another good thing. I think taking the time, I think it was The Secret that said like people who have pets, it could be a mood changer. I think figuring out in the morning, every morning when I get out of my bed, I step out of my bed and I say, thank you for this bed. And I say thank you out loud. And I thank for the bed, I thank for my sheets, I thank for my pillow. I walk to my windows, I open my windows, I thank that I have curtains in my windows. And I'm thanking God and the universe. And then I get nervous about, is God going to get mad at me? And I'm thanking the universe. And I'm like, but is the universe it's laws of attraction, and I get all in my head about it. So I thank everybody. I thank both of them. God first, because he created the universe. And if you don't believe that, on you, I do. And then universe, because laws of attraction and, Shonda Rhimes, I don't know. I got to follow. I got to do all the things. So I cover my bases and I thank everybody for all the things. The thing I did the other day, and I think I'm going to start doing that more often, is physically writing it down. And I was saying on one of the podcasts, and if you haven't gone back and seen them, go back and watch them because they're all fantastic. But in one of them, I said something about, I was talking into my phone, what I'm grateful for, because I was pissed off. And I was like, thank you for being a phone. But I think it's probably healthier when you're not wanting to kill somebody to be grateful and thankful. So that's one of the things that I do for self-care. And I think, as it changes as we get older. I think when I was younger, I'd go out dancing, hang out with your girlfriends, although my girlfriends are still very much my self-care. But quiet nights with wine in the house, much better. And, we do get to go out a lot. I'm blessed to a lot of really fun events I get to go to, and we have a killer time. But if I could throw on sweats, a t-shirt, glass of wine, sit and talk to my girlfriends. And one fun thing about 2025 is these fucking cell phones. Like, FaceTiming is dope. I call my friends on FaceTime, and you can have like a girl party on FaceTime and just drink wine with your girlfriends no matter where you are, except for when one of your friends lives in Europe, and then it's always the wrong time. So you have to figure it out where it's wine time for everybody. But listen, I'll be willing to drink at 10 a.m. if I have to for you, Michelle. I love you so much. I could force myself to do that. The world that we're living in right now requires that. And I bet in every time, I'm sure my mother would have said the same thing about the 60s and 50s, and the world has always been fucking crazy. I think we might be seeing the craziest of all times right now, but every generation probably thought that. It is super important that we find time for ourselves when and if we can. Little things like just shutting the bathroom door if you can. If you can listen to my podcast, I'm really good for your mental health. I'll definitely make you feel better about yourself. Like, I thought I was fucked. I remember, I swear, I used to watch like Jerry Springer and be like, I thought I was fucked up. This kid, he's fucking his cow. There was a guy that had a horse on Jerry Springer. His horse was his girlfriend or his wife or some shit. I'm like, at least I'm not dating a horse. Have standards. So I am a scaredy cat, and we'll probably talk about that in another episode. I'm afraid of everything. I was afraid of everything my whole life. Nervous Nellies, what my friends would call me. But there was a movie when I was growing up called The Lady in White. In the movie, a little boy gets stuck in the cloakroom. Even the word cloakroom is fucked up. Gets stuck in the cloakroom, and while he's in the cloakroom overnight at school, the same girl gets murdered over and over and over again. And every night, he sees the body get carried away, and he never sees the murderer, but he always sings the same song. I'm going to sing the song because it's daylight, and I'm probably not going to be able to sleep in the apartment by myself tonight. I'm afraid to sing it. Okay, I'm going to sing it. My sister is right now loving this because my sister to this day will call me and she'll sing the song and I'll still be scared. She'll text the words to me. But anyway, see the movie and just know it's going to fuck you up. So the little guy's in the cloak, he's in the coat room at school, overnight, scared to death. And all of a sudden, little girl comes into the coat room, and then there's a murder, and then the body gets carried away. And as he's carrying the body, he sings, "Have you ever seen a dream walking? Well, I did." It's so scary. And every night he goes back to the coat room, and every night he sees the murder, and he tries to unwrap the murder, and then he is with, I'm not giving it away. See the movie. If you see the movie, oh boy, that song, it still can't cook today's Jerry Springer. I'm wondering, is anyone watching me being like, I thought I was fucked up. This on again, off again, the freaking drama with her friend, she's losing friends, she's forgetting everything all the time, she's dripping from places, she's not, she had sex with a cab driver, Uber driver, Lyft driver, actually, Lyft. I mean, fucking get it right, it was not a cab driver. Class him up a bit, he was with Lyft. I don't know what that means, no harm to cab drivers. I'm just kidding. It sounded funny when I said a cab driver because somehow I picture myself with like a British guy. Hey, Kelley, would you like to come in the front seat? Am I today's Jerry Springer? I could be. If you feel better about yourself after watching me, I did my job. Sorry about that. I do marathons in my brain. I took you with me. But all that being said, it's important that we do self-care. In the movie Legally Blonde, there's the quote where she says, exercise gives you endorphins, endorphins make you happy, and happy people do not kill their husbands, correct? So it's important that we stay happy, and self-care is a way to do that. And you know what happy people also don't do? They are not rude to service people. So we're gonna get into my pet peeves right now. And here's some of my pet peeves for the week, month, year, lifetime, for forever. Stop being rude to service people, and service people don't be rude to the customers. It's mind-blowing when you have a rude person when I'm trying to spend my money. I was out last night having a drink with a friend. We were at a bar stool. My dog's underneath the bar stool. It is a wooden fucking stool. No fabrics, no nothing. Fine, we're catching up. She had a couple drinks. I did not. We looked we were well dressed. It was nice. Like, we clearly cool people, not gonna we're spending money. I pick my dog up as we're leaving. We're just about to go, but Oliver had been on the floor the whole time. So I pick my dog up and I put him on my lap, sort of on the lap. And this woman comes behind the bar and she goes, "Your dog can't be on," and she's got an Irish accent. I can't do the brogue right now, but she says, "Your dog can't be up." And I was like, "Excuse me?" She goes, "You got to take him down." And I was like, "Okay." I said, "Okay." I said, "We're going to just pay the check." She goes, "You must think of the other customers." And I was like, "Okay." I said, "But it's a wooden bar stool." And first of all, who the fuck are you talking? Like, what world am I in that you just came back from behind the bar, walked around to a person you've never met, didn't introduce yourself, you're a little person, I could beat you up, and you're fucking yelling at me? So nasty. And my friend was like, knowing I was about to snap, and I go, "Okay." I said, "I'm not trying to be a problem." I said, "I'm just ask you a question. Now, is this a personal thing, or is this the Board of Health? I'm just asking because it's not a fabric, because I understand fabric for allergies, but this is a wooden bench. So is this your thing?" And she said, "It's about the other customers." "Oh, so it's not about this fucking customer?" I said, "Oh, okay." Again, she didn't answer the question. Is it personal or is it the Board of Health? And again, I'm only asking to learn something today. And she said, either way, it's about the other customer. And I wanted to fucking rip her head off. And so much of my body was like, I'm going to go back there. I'm going to go back. I didn't stay. It was raining. My friend had to leave. I had the dog. I'm going to go back into this. I'm going back in, and I'm going to ask to speak to her, and I'm going to say, "I need to talk to you. I've been in food and beverage my entire life. I've been in the service business, and I have worked with people. You cannot speak to customers that way. If you've had a bad day, it is not my fucking problem." I was asking a question. My beautiful dog, who sat on my lap and on your wooden ass bar stool, was doing nothing wrong, and you presented it at such an aggressive way. She was so fucking aggressive. Oh, I'm getting so mad at her. This kind of thing, when you're a server, and if you haven't been a server, I say everyone should be a server. I have bit my tongue over and over and over again because people are there for a good time. They're leaving their house. They're coming to you. They're sitting in spaces. They're uncomfortable. They might not like the way they look today. They might have had a bad day at work. Maybe they're fighting with their spouse. Maybe they just don't feel good. Yesterday, I didn't feel like I looked cute. I was having a bad day. It was raining. It was shitty in New York. A girlfriend and I were catching up. We were talking about her mom dying. It was a dramatic, and you're coming to me and being nasty. If you work in F&B, food and beverage, I should say, if you work in bars and restaurants, if you work in the service business at all, be nice. Like, we're paying to be here. I don't understand. I have a book that I wrote training manual for my old job called The 10 Commandments of Service. And I swear it is so good, but it's so hard for me as someone who has put themselves aside for the day of work. Like, you need to clock out when you're in food and beverage and you are working for people in your service industry. If you're working behind the counter, if you're working with people in general, you gotta be nice. I am like so over rude servers, nasty people in restaurants, nasty people in airlines. Like, what is going on? Do something else if you don't want to work with people. I don't want to pay for something and be met with nasty. It's so fucking hard to deal with. And then when you're like me, who's been on both ends of it, like, I want so desperately to fix the woman from last night. Like, that is not the way you present it. I was okay. I took the dog down. I wasn't being aggressive. I was seriously asking a question. I wanted to know, is it against the Board of Health to have my dog on the chair? Either way, it's her spot. I'm going to take the dog down. But I really wanted to learn something. And she was so rude to me. I'm going to go back and talk to her because I feel like it's important for me, because I could help her, because she's not just being nasty to me, she's being nasty to other people. And it's probably not, if it's her bar, she owns it, then be nasty all you want. But if you're working here, if you're a manager or something, and you're making the owner pay you to be an asshole to somebody else, I feel I'm the Superman of food and beverage training. I'm going to come in with my cape, my service trainer cape, and be like, stop being a dick to people who are trying to have a good time. Because now I don't want to go back. Like, I would have had such a nice time had she left me alone. I would have gone back. It was the first time I've ever been in the place. It's on my block. They had great menu. I didn't know they had food. I never walked in the place before, but my friend suggested we go there. We did, and I would have gone back if this woman wasn't an asshole, and now I feel like I need to address it. I want to go back and complain, but at the same point, no one likes a Karen on either side. I can't be the Karen coming back to complain about someone who probably had a bad day, and what do I know about what goes on in her life? Maybe the girl before me was an asshole. Maybe I look like someone that was mean to her last week. Maybe she's got a dog allergy. Maybe she lost her dog. Whatever. Karens are never okay. You can't be a Karen on either side. You have to figure out when to fight your battles, and that's going to roll into these people in restaurants who are rude to their servers. Who's your server? Who's your runner? Who's your busser? These things are imperative to their roles, to the place running well, and for you to get what you need in a timely manner. Don't order from the busser. The person who's cleaning your table, please don't tell them you want another vodka tonic. And then don't get mad at them when they don't know what you're talking about, or they don't take your drink order, or they say 1 second. Everyone has a role. People get so fucking rude in restaurants because you don't know how you don't know how it works. So you only make things harder when you don't just wait a second and wait for the server. The person who took your order is your server. Tell them what you need. And if they're busy, wait. Don't yell, don't snap. They're working. We're supposed to be there to have fun. If it's not fun, get your check, go home, go somewhere else. If you want to be an asshole, go to the fine dining restaurants where they are used to you. But if you want to sit at a burger joint and be an asshole to your server, like, give me a break. Shut the fuck up. No one should be rude. And what's happening more to me as an older person now is that I think that I have the right to be rude more than when I was younger. I feel like it'd be okay for me to go back in and yell at that lady and say she was being mean to me simply because I want to go with my pocketbook and hit her with it. I'd be one of those ladies and like have like a bun flow out of it, like a biscuit. Like, why are old people are rude as fuck? Like, we get the right. I don't know, somehow we get a pass at some point where I'm allowed to be like, excuse me. Like, if you bang into me and I'm like, seriously, make me wait? Don't make me wait because I don't have that much time left. So I get very aggravated waiting, but I go like, I look at him like, I'm 53. I know, it's the face. I bought the cheeks. No, I have to go. I'm 53. I'm allowed to be mean. No. That when I just push that person, no, I'm old. I'm allowed to do that. I just look really good. Underneath all this Botox and filler is like fucking Betty Davis. If you don't know who Betty Davis is, she has no idea who Betty Davis is, but look her up. Betty Davis Eyes. She's an actress. She's probably dead. No, she's definitely dead. But she was old. My only reference is that she was old. Phyllis Diller? I come up with all the old ladies. In any case, I'm one of those old ladies now, and I think when you get older, you get a jail-free card, and you can be a dick far more often, and you could be really frustrated and really nasty and complain more. Not that it's okay, but I think as you get older, I just think we have less time, our fuses are shorter. And then menopause, I am telling you, you're way moodier. I'm getting way madder at stuff that used to not matter to me. And then I have to stop and call one of my friends and go, are you getting mad at that too? Oh my God. I go, yeah, well, did you get mad at it last year? No, it's menopause. So I apologize in advance for everyone I'm mean to in the next coming months, because it's going to continue. I feel like I'm going to get meaner as I get older. I'm turning 54, and so I'm just going to get meaner. That's what's going to happen. But I'm always going to be nice to my servers, because except for the people who are dicks to me, it's such a hard balance. How do I stay nice to the servers when they're mean to me, mean to the servers who are nice? I don't know. I've got to work it out. So as you get older, you can be mean. Do you agree? Do you think as you get older, you get a jail-free card? Like women, old ladies who like knock into you. I get knocked over all the time on the streets outside. So old men too. Old men and old ladies are mean sometimes. And they don't like dogs. They have no patience for kids. It actually sounds like me. Without the dog thing, it sounds like me. I get really aggravated. I need people to move out of my way. So after all that, my point is, let's make a better effort. Let's be nice to each other. Let's have some self-care moments. Make sure you take time for yourself. If you're going to go into business with your friends, I highly doubt you should. But if you're going to do that, make sure you do your do's and don'ts. You can do a different list. You can go back to mine if you want to. Apparently, I'm a genius at business and how to fuck it up. Kidding. But if you want to go back to mine, do that. Be nice to your service people. If you're a service person, be nice to your customers. Over 50 doesn't mean you're allowed to be an asshole. Getting older doesn't mean you get to be a grumpy old fuck. Sometimes maybe just give me a little grace, a little bit. Sometimes we could be a little bit. And if you have to cut off a friend, or if you were cut off, I want to hear the messy stories. Let me know what happened. Was it your fault? Was it their fault? What they do? Give me the juice. You can write it. You can inbox it. I get emails now. I have emails. Write me an email. Or better, write it on wherever you watch the podcast. So subscribe to the podcast. Rate it, give me 5 stars, and please review. And tell me the things that you think about when you watch this. Like, what do you relate to? I get a lot of people who sidebar me and like, oh, that was so funny. I thought like Denise, like Danielle. Thank you, Danielle. But really, write it on the podcast. Write it as a review. Write a comment underneath there because that really matters. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for taking this ride with me. Next time, take a Dramamine because I go everywhere. I'm a little bit of a fucking Jerry Springer of today. I'm kidding. That's a joke. I am not. Thank you for tuning in. Please come back. Every Tuesday, I'm here. Thank you for joining me, and I really appreciate it. Still can't cook. Thank you. Hey guys, thank you so much for showing up for another episode of Still Can't Cook. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your podcasts, on YouTube or any other podcast provider. And if you're on Instagram or TikTok, please follow us at Still Can't Cook. Love to have you guys back every week. So happy that you joined us and look forward to seeing you next week.